Yo, what is up, guys? Today we are back to talk about the Bitnats project. If you saw my last tweet, there were some errors in the last video. I believe that the two projects that were being launched were going to be block drops. The two projects being discussed in the Bitnats ecosystem are not block drops. They're going to be parent-child inscriptions. So any of those mint inscriptions that we made were not created in the intended way for the Bitnat project. What does that mean? How will they be done? Will they even be indexed into the future? I'm not sure. And the reason that the Bitnats project founder launched the associated nats, BX0, 1, and the other 4 tokens as collection childs to the Bitnats was so that indexer was not required in order to view the relationship between the project and its children, and that it would be all on chain. What the parent-child relationship is going to be doing is ensuring that the children, BX0 for example, will always be derived back to its block that it was extracted from. The reason for this is so that an indexer is not required in order to associate the child back to the block. This will be all on chain. So in my last video, I discussed that the nats would be generated into items using block data that Bitnats is decoding. This isn't how that process is going to happen. Bitnats project is not going to be finding patterns in order to generate any artwork. So these pictures resemble a flowchart. The bitnats, the block.bitnats could be looked at like a gold mine. Within this gold mine, there's different sections of gold that can be mined. One section might be the BX collection, which is BX0, 1, 11, 10, etc. And there might be another mound of gold over here, which would be the block hash project. That project has not been launched yet. We can't make a child for that project yet. Once these collection items get mined from the Bitnat that we can look at like golden bars, once those collection items are mined, you'll have these nats, BX0 for example, which then can be sold on the market. These nats will be collected by a game developer, and these game developer will press these nats into items. So let's say you had a dungeon crawler. The game developer could develop their BRC 420s, for example, which consist of 99% of the collection inside of the game. But within that game, there could be, let's say, 50 or 100 different bitnats that the game developer collects in order to drop rare items to the users. All of the items that get dropped are common items. All of these common items are associated with the project's BRC 420s. But once you get to the boss at the end of the act, that boss may have a percentage to drop a rare item. That rare item, that NFT, will be a Bitnat NFT. So the game developer will go out on the market, buy these nats, press these nats into an item in the game. When that item is given to your wallet upon drop, it will be the BX nat. So what this is doing is it's defining a rarity collection across the metaverse. So you could have one game developer using 50 different BX nats. Let's say they had 50 BX 11s, 10 different games. They could decide whether or not if you won an item in one game that was associated with the BX 11, do you get another item in another game? And another game developer could determine whether they want to recognize items from another game within their game or within their metaverse. Doesn't necessarily need to be a game, or that BX nat could be associated with one game only. It really is up to the game developers. If you were to add up all of the nats from BX0, BX1, 10, 11, etc., it equates to roughly 3 million, which isn't very many items. So if these nats are used in games, you can see how quickly this collection could grow in popularity. So now we're going to talk about how to create a parent-child relationship with the parent being the .bitnats and creating the child nat. In order to do this, we're going to use chisel.xyz. This is a block that I own, 643107. As we can see in the bit field, there's a pattern 1, 10, and 0. So over on chisel.xyz, we're going to click text. We're going to use plain text. We could add 3 different inscriptions here and input the 3 different children. So a 1, a 10, and a 0. I'm only going to create 1 here because gas fees are really high during the making of this video. We need to put in a script here. I'm going to use a script for BX1. These here are the 6 scripts for the Bitnats nats. I'll paste this in the description below. I'll paste that into this box here and change this block height to the parent block height number, 643107. We're going to inscribe on a common Satoshi. There's no reason to use an exotic. This block is to input the parent inscription ID. The parent inscription is the block height.bitnats. That inscription ID can be found by clicking on your Bitnats inscription in your wallet with the associated block and copying this ID. Input the ID into the parent inscription ID, and then input your Bitcoin address that you would like both inscriptions to be sent to. Choose the network fee. Once you choose your network fee, choose that postage 600 sats. I forgot to change that option and left it 10,000 and it cost me $5 more than it should have. And submit. So the first step here is going to be to fund this transaction. You can either connect and fund with a Unisat wallet, or you can just send this fee, 42,303 Satoshis, to this Bitcoin address. That's what I'm going to be doing. Ensure that you're sending the correct amount. Once you send the fee off and the funding address receives the payment, an address will show up down here, which is where you're going to send your parent inscription. It says here, send this inscription, which is the parent inscription that we input earlier. Once the inscription has been funded and complete, this new address will show. This is where you're going to send your parent inscription. Do not send your inscription to the funding address. If you do that, you will lose your inscription. So we're going to send the parent inscription to this address. So find your inscription and send your inscription to the address shown. So fees are really high right now. I'd recommend wait till they come down before you do this. As you can see, it is quite expensive. Once the transaction is complete, you should receive your parent back, your .bitnats, and your child inscription. This is the inscription that we created with Chisel. If we click on the inscription we created with Chisel and copy that ID and paste it into ordinals.com, we can see that it is now linked with the parent, and that parent is bitnats. It'll show you the children of that block. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Take care.